I've spent a decade taking a bite out of conspiracy theories, unraveling urban legends, and grappling with worldwide top secret issues.
I've even racked up some of their awards.
Wow, I mean, first of all, what a question.
Journalism is about telling the truth, all while ferreting out the bottom line.
I'm a Harrison Hellraiser.
My mission is to inform viewers
Who want to get to the truth within the unknown.
on all topics, controversial, bizarre, and taboo.
You've taught generations how to view the world in a positive way.
Yes, I have.
I know that, and your humility is the part that's really exciting.
Interviewing movers and shakers, agitators and muckrakers,
That doesn't answer my question. That is all I'm answering.
With me as your guide. We're going to have a lot of fun today, that's for sure, and we're going to talk to one of the smartest, the most luminous light bulbs of intelligence and humor that has ever graced our eyeballs, the optic nerve quivering in anticipatory delight. I could go on with the loftiest of encomiums, and they still would be meager and flaccid compared to the...
Meager and flaccid.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. And by the way, we're going to cover a panoply of topics, a pantheon of parturient, and I've run out of peas.
Right, but did you know that when your parents named you Carrie Harrison, that there was assonance in that name?
So I've been told.
Carrie Harrison. And the question is, did you pick up? You picked up any of his name? Did Carl Bernstein pick up any of your DNA? And that's the question, because you said you were humping his leg. There's more
Pant leg.
Pant leg.
Yes, I
Pant
made
leg.
sure.
So there's more of a chance that he might have gotten some of, unless he hasn't washed those pants.
Were you wearing a blue dress?
I think they were. His plants blue is what I want to know.
Now, you'll note that for aesthetic purposes, since part of the thing we're going to talk about is your new film, which is called The Magic of Belle Isle. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about A for a little bit. We're going to talk about gay rights, marriage, etc., and a super surprise, something I don't think you have heard in decades, Rob, that you're in.
Here we go.
And we're not talking All in the Family or anything.
No, this is going to be a Gomer Pyle or something kind of...
No. It's a radical moment.
A radical moment.
A radical moment.
Yeah, I'm not involved in any of those.
I know that. It may have been somebody sounding and looking like you.
It's probably sounded like look-alike.
You'll appreciate it. But because we're also going to touch into civil rights and some gay stuff, I have strategically placed Mercy Malik in eye shot for you as a gift to my brethren to balance out the aesthetic for you.
She's beautiful, by the way.
She's
much prettier than I am.
So
Depends on your taste.
I just wanted your approval for that.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, it's because I care.
I want to invite you on a one-time only special trip to be one of the first people to sail to Cuba in 50 years. With interior cabins for a week-long, 5-star luxury cruise ship voyage around the entire island of Cuba with multiple port calls starting at only $16.98. Be among the first in 50 years to see Cuba while it's still the Cuba that people talk about.
We're talking to Rob Reiner, director and screenwriter, nominated for Oscars, another 13 wins, 20 nominations. Certainly no layabout, no laggard.
No, I try to do my family proud. I try to bring home, well, not bacon because I'm Jewish, but other good things to eat.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I knew you, in a sense, through your father. When I grew up as a kid watching the Dick Van Dyke Show, that was brilliant humor.
Yeah.
And I think not only does the apple not fall far from the tree, but when the tree is smart and the apples are good fruit, they tend to retain the magic from the parent tree. And I think that's much of your story, is you pay attention to life.
You hardly use any metaphors. That's what I like about you.
Thank you. That's what Kirk Douglas said last week.
Yeah. I'd rather be a free man among men than be the richest senator of Rome. I'm Spartacus. You know, it's interesting, but Kirk Douglas, Michael Douglas, who was in a film that I did, American President, he and I have talked extensively about the fact that we are probably there's maybe 3 or 4 people in this club that we talk about, which is children or offspring of parents who were wildly successful. I mean, huge successes. Jane Fonda, falls in that category.
She's one of your parents?
Well, no, I'm saying, no, it's like we're the sons and daughters of, and there's very few of us. It's a small club, yeah. But, it's obviously his father and my dad. Those are big, long, lanky shadows to come out from under.
Yeah, and when you think about the radical notion of, like, All in the Family, I was forbidden to watch it by my right-wing Republican crypto, well, not so crypto, but just fascist father.
Wow. What happened to you? How did you get out from under?
I ended up going to a public university at one point and meeting real living human beings.
Wow.
I got out of the boarding school system and the school in Switzerland, all that crap that goes on with that, and suddenly was drinking beer around a keg, and I woke up.
Wow.
But I think that's part of the deal that you have to do. And then you make a choice. Because you can continue to wear a little Brooks Brothers suit and bring the world down, or you can wear flip-flops and have a hell of a good time.
Yes.
And that's something that you have taught me, too, I think, in much of the years of what you've done, is that if you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, if you don't laugh and have a good time, it really is almost too much heavy lifting.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, we only have this one shot in life, unless you, like I say, you're Shirley MacLaine, and, then you can, bank on a few shots. But we do have to find that the pleasure that we have in life, and that's really the basic theme of the Magic of Belle Isle. When I turned 60 about 5 years ago, I'm now 65, it hit me very hard, this whole idea of mortality and the fact that life is very precious. We have a limited time on the planet, and I started thinking of myself at that point as a very, very, very young old person, because it's the beginning of that last part of your life, and you want to be able to cherish it. You want to be able to embrace it. So that's what made me do the bucket list, which is all about 2 guys facing their mortality and trying to squeeze every ounce of pleasure and joy that they can out of life.
I promised that we would tease you with something, or I teased something that you probably have not heard in about 30 years.
Okay.
And so we found this in the vault. It was a reel-to-reel tape with dust on it.
Yes.
That happened in 1974.
Okay.
And I'm just going to have to kind of spoil it here. We'll go to the phones just a minute, by the way. Everybody on hold. Hold on a second. We are talking to Rob Reiner live. Here's what happened. It was flown in by airplane back then. There was no FedEx. The transcripts to something that had just happened that was newsmaking. And I referenced Carl Bernstein, who I humped the pant leg of last night.
I know what this is.
When we got honored.
Yeah.
And so we found audio of you and Mama Cass Elliott
Oh my God.
reading the Nixon transcripts that were not yet publicly available.
Right.
These had been leaked. We were you were the only ones, and this was the first time any of the residents of Earth would hear this.
Right. I remember doing this.
Hi, I'm Rob Reiner. I'll be playing Ehrlichman.
I'm Eugene Trubnik, and I'll be playing Mr. Nixon.
I'm Cass Elliott, and I'll be playing Haldeman.
And now for the meeting that took place on April 17th at 12:35 in the afternoon in the Oval Office. The first voice you hear is that of the President.
Go ahead on the action.
Yes, but there again, executive privilege is reserved.
Oh, executive privilege is reserved. Fine.
At this point, the way we're in this soup now, we can lose nothing by going.
That's right.
I think we may gain.
That's right. I couldn't agree more. So if you can prepare me with at least that much, I'll agree. That I can say that today.
Well, that's a hell of a bomb shelter right there.
Yes, it is. But let's get on with the rest of it.
That's right. That's all I have for today, but it gets you into the case. It's you leading it.
Let me suggest a different process, which is that you don't suspend Dean, but that you instruct John Dean that he is not to come to work anymore. He is in effect suspended, but not publicly suspended.
Yeah, very Nixonian, right?
Oh my God! I remember that. And you know, there's also been some tapes released where Nixon talks about having seen an episode of All in the Family, and he basically trashes me because I apparently, and it was an episode that dealt with homosexuality. There was, I think, the 4th episode we ever did, and Archie had a friend who was an ex-football player who turned out to be a homosexual. I had a friend that was kind of, dressing a certain way, and he used to just trash him and say, sweetie pie Roger, your friend, and he was straight. So, and then Nixon talked about how he saw this disgusting television show where they talked about this, and that young kid with the long hair, and he talked about me, and I heard those tapes. So,
what an honor.
I know, it's an honor to be trashed by Nixon.
And I'm told by the Pacifica Archives, who made this available for us today, and that's pacificaarchives.org, as I appropriately plug them, as I said I would, pacificaarchives.org.
Wow.
That's .org, pacificaarchives.org. When they, pacificaarchives.org, made that available today, one word. Apparently, this is the only known record of Mama Cass Elliot ever being political. This, according to her daughter. There is no other recording, no other video, no nothing of her ever having engaged in a political moment.
No, it's true. I mean, during the 60s, I was with a group called The Committee, which was an improvisational theater company that did political satire. And sometimes Mama Cass would come and hang out with us. Janis Joplin also came on stage with us and hung out and did some improvs and stuff. But very rarely, I mean, there was a cross-pollination, no question about it, between the rock and roll world and the political satirical world, but very rarely would they come out and do these kinds of things.
Rob Reiner, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
This is huge fun and a treat. And I was telling somebody on the phone earlier, I'm not usually starstruck. I mean, we've talked to all kinds of people here, but having you come in today, I don't know what it is, but I've just felt like a young maiden. So I'm getting a grip now.
From Hollywood, this is Harrison.
I've spent a decade taking a bite out of conspiracy theories, unraveling urban legends, and grappling with worldwide top secret issues.
I've even racked up some of their awards.
Wow, I mean, first of all, what a question.
Journalism is bizarre and taboo. You've taught generations how to view the world in a positive way.
Yes, I have.
I know that, and your humility is the part that's really exciting.
Interviewing movers and shakers, agitators and muckrakers.
That doesn't answer my question. That is all I'm answering.
With me as your guide. We're going to have a lot of fun today, that's for sure, and we're going to talk to one of the smartest, the most luminous light bulbs of intelligence and humor that has ever graced our eyeballs, the optic nerve quivering in anticipatory delight. I could go on with the loftiest of encomiums, and they still would be meager and flaccid compared to the...
Meager and flaccid.
About telling the truth, all while ferreting out the bottom line.
I'm a Harrison Hellraiser.
My mission is to inform viewers
Who want to get to the truth within the unknown.
on all topics, controversial, bizarre,